Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Future Salespeople's Weekly Sales Round Robin. I'm Andrew Voislavic, and this is Mr. Alex Guest. Alex, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for the time, everybody.
I'm so excited for a day where I just don't point to the corner and you're actually there, or we're actually together in person. That would be a nice day. But until that time, we've got a lovely topic for our audience today, and that's going to be prioritizing value in sales development. And oftentimes, just even this concept of prioritizing value in sales development is a new concept for a lot of our customers, right? A lot of our customers, a lot of people who are new to sales or new to value-based selling, just think about sales development's about getting a meeting, and that they think about getting meetings through effort, through hustle, through grit, whatever that might be. And that's more often than not just a lot of activity, Alex. And from our friends over at the Rain Group, and this, we picked this one because it's actually one of the lowest statistics that we found, but on average, 8 touches to actually secure a meeting with a prospect. Holy God. Holy God. And so for us, and where I'm going to start having Alex come in and chime in here, is talking about what sales development really is to future salespeople, what it should mean to your organization. And for us, it's about building awareness through sales development activities, through value for you and your potential buyers, and then effectively motivating them to want to engage you by offering a value exchange. So what are you giving to get them to want to interact with you? Mr. Guest, how are we doing so far?
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. Outbound sales development is the number one thing that we hear from our clients. People don't know how to do it. They think it's hard. They think it's harder than it actually is, and they think that you actually have to put a lot more activity and effort into it. We find that by leading with value, you actually need to spend a lot less energy, time, resources, capital to make it happen. 8 touches is a little embarrassing. We usually target getting some sort of action in the first 3 or 4 touches. Typically, you don't see many in the first 1 or 2. You might have some laggards that come around in 5, 6, 7. But if you're not seeing the majority of your conversions happen when somebody's agreeing to take action, have a meeting with you, or even just reply to an email until you've hit the 8th touch point, that usually says that there's something wrong with what you're doing. You're not building enough value. You're not making that value exchange clear enough.
No, the way that we like to think about that is you're getting the prospect to wave a white flag. They're not saying, hey, thanks, you've really motivated me to want to connect with you. They're really saying, holy crap, please let me go. I've had enough of this. And Alex, this is what you're really talking about, right? It's about value, the amount of touches and time. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, so if we plot a graph with touch points there on the bottom, so we have 8 or 9 different touch points, and then the value that you're building in each one of those touch points, you're ultimately looking to get some sort of conversion event, some sort of action. Again, maybe it is set a meeting, maybe it's just reply to the email. Those are going to have different levels of barriers to entry. That's another thing that we can talk about as it relates to building value and exchanging for it. But if we have 2 simple cadences here, I would say what the Rain Group is referencing is really that bottom line, that bottom cadence. You're slowly building consistent and incremental value over each touch. You're not really letting up. There's no ebb and flow to the campaign. It's just you're hammering at their door and you are waiting for them to wake up and agree to have a meeting with you or to tell you to go away from their door. When we like to design campaigns, it is going to have an ebb and a flow to the different types of value that you're building, the ways you're building value, the people you're building value with, whether you're doing that through things like statistics or attachments or videos or emojis. And it's all very intentional, but in doing that way, you are going to build bigger value over time. And you're also giving your buyers a little bit of a break. You don't need to have a distinct or a heavy call to action each time that you're reaching out. In fact, it's probably going to help you with conversion and to set meetings earlier if you're not aggressive and you're being more strategic about the ways that you're building value.
You're gonna go on a lot more dates if you're not asking the person that you go on a date with to get married with you on the very first action every time, right? And what you're saying there, though, just the different types of value, and you really set yourself up for the next slide, right? And when you're thinking about it, how we think about through and wave the value throughout it. Talk to us a little bit more about interests, insights, and offers, Alex.
Yeah, so a couple of different ways that we like to categorize building value. Interest is first. So driving interest with your buyer. You can do it through curiosity by asking them questions. You can do it through social proof by saying that you work with their competitors or big people like them. You can tap into their ego and ask them questions about themselves and their own goals. That's all building interest, and that interest is going to help build value that then you can exchange for some sort of action on their part. We'll talk about those different types of actions next. Then there are insights, and insights tend to be more concrete, more data-based. So statistics, case studies, you're doing an analysis on the market, something that you can exchange for value. Typically, because that does take more time, energy, effort, that can be something that provides or builds more value. So you can have a bigger ask when you exchange that. And then finally, it's going to be offers. So offering discounts, something for free, a sample, a consultative session, something that's going to build value because you are giving first is really kind of the core piece of what an offer is. All different ways to build value. Andrew, what do you think? How do you think about leveraging this in sales development?
No, I really like this. And I like the way that you broke it down in each of those different areas, the interest, insights, and offers. And one of the ways that I had a mentor just really position this to me, it's when you think about it through interest, insights, or offers, and you're creating your value exchange for your prospects, always think about like what's in it for them. If you can't actually answer what's in it for them, then you've missed the value. So don't send out that solicitation, right? So if you can't answer that, then don't send it.
Yep.
I wish I had more, but
well, no, you bring up an interesting point, and I think that's something that salespeople can struggle with, in that it needs to be empathetic. It needs to be something that is actually building value for the buyer, for the person that you're trying to engage. And salespeople get in their own heads about how their solution, their product, their service is the best. Why wouldn't somebody want to talk to me about this? Where in reality, if you're more pragmatic about it and you can see it from their position, you're going to be building more of the right value in the right ways that you can exchange later for action.
I love it, right? And that's exactly what we're talking to you right now. We want to build something with the value, right? So tell us about how we're building to actually getting meetings ultimately, or engaging with the prospect.
Yeah, so when it comes down to this, you want to be empathetic to your buyer, right?
Yep.
So they're going to go through a process, whether you're giving them a call and leaving a voicemail, or sending them an email, or having them read something, or follow up in a community. First, you need to drive that interaction. And those actions that you're looking to exchange for are things like opens in an email, or answering a phone call, or listening to a voicemail, and you have to give them a compelling reason to do so. So when you're building value first, the first value exchange is that interaction piece. You just need to get them to interact with what you're putting forward. The next big value exchange is going to be around processing that information, actually listening on the call, and actually being present for it, actually reading the email and thinking about the content in there, reviewing the case study and trying to apply it to their own position, their own situation. So you don't need to them just to interact there and be there, but they actually need to process it. So you need to build enough value to then exchange that for their action in processing it. And then finally, there's that true action. So call to action, sometimes this is measured through click-through rates, sometimes it's measured through lead conversions or webinar attendance, but that's when you're building the most value because you're getting the most action out of that person.
I love this. I think this is such a nice way of thinking about it too. And my favorite part of all of this is the processing bit, right? It's how do you help that person restart or trigger their brain computer to think it's not just a sales solicitation, it's not just you begging for a meeting, but you're actually trying to add value to them. So really appreciate the way you position that.
But up next, we're going to be talking about creating your first ideal customer profiles. This is going to be a multi-parter. First, we're going to talk about what you see today. Then we're going to be talking about maybe aspirational ideal customer profiles you have if you want to tap into a new market, a better market, a more engaged market. And then finally, we'll wrap things up with hypothetical markets, or ICPs. So if you're just looking to build for the first time, you've never sold a customer or anything, we'll address how to tackle that. So it'll be kind of a shorter 3-part section, but hopefully provide value for all types of different businesses out there.
Thank you so much, Alex. You nailed it. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate your views and your feedback.